The NBA draft happened about a few hours ago, and it went as predicted for the most part. Cooper Flag was the number one pick, followed by Dylan Harper as the number two pick. Those guys were both projected to be number one and number two, so no surprises there. I thought the draft got interesting after the top two picks. Once they got to number three and the picks after that, that's when all the fun really began. But what stood out to me the most about this draft was Ace Bailey's reaction to the Jazz drafting him. So he got passed up by the Hornets at number four, the Sixers at number three. They passed on him. So that left the Jazz at number five. And you could see while Ace Bailey was waiting for the Jazz to make the pick, he was hoping and praying that the Jazz would not pick him. Just when they would flash the camera at him when he was sitting at the table, it just said the vibes I got from his facial reaction and the way he was just kind of just moving up and down, fidgeting a little bit at his seat was like, please don't pick me. Please don't pick me. Please, 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 please don't fucking pick me. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be in this shithole. I don't want to be in Utah. I just don't want to be there. Please don't pick me. And I get it. I get it. You're a young 19-year-old. Salt Lake is just not going to be one of your top preferences to play in. I would say Salt Lake and OKC, if you're a young guy, you definitely don't want to be in either of those cities. Granted, OKC now has at least the prestige of being the defending champs. So it's still not an ideal place to play market wise, but if you get drafted there, you know you're part of a winning organization. So I guess that's the solace of playing in OKC now, but still one of the worst locations in the NBA. And I would say Salt Lake is up there as one of the least desirable places to play in. So I get it. I get not wanting to go there and just being frustrated about being there, but that's what you sign up for. I can't say I feel bad for him. And it was reported by ESPN's Jonathan Givney. I'm not sure if I said his last name correctly, but he said that Utah was not one of his preferred destinations, was hoping to get to either Washington, New Orleans, or Brooklyn. A stunner, but if you think about it, this is an outstanding place for Ace Bailey. So that's what Jonathan Givney said about the situation of ESPN, that Ace Bailey never wanted to get picked by the Jazz, but he was tanking his value to get to one of his preferred locations by not working out. He did not want to go to the Philadelphia Sixers because, according to his camp, they didn't feel that he could get stardom in Philadelphia. So that's why he canceled the workout over there. And he canceled with some other teams too. But this is what happens when you try to control your destiny, that sometimes something else will happen randomly. So I can't feel bad for him because I just feel that this was like the karma he deserved for not working out and trying to get teams to pass on him so he could play at, either the Wizards or Nolans or just whatever other team you want to fall to. And it didn't work. It didn't work. He paid the price being in the worst market in the NBA. I'm not going to say the worst market in the NBA. I still think OKC is worse than Salt Lake, to be honest. At least Salt Lake has some beautiful mountains, some great scenery. And even though the Mormons are out there and weird, they're still nice people from what I've heard. I know a few people who live in Salt Lake. So yeah, that I've heard some good things, at least about the people being nice. OKC, that place strikes me as a backwards redneck town. I just see it as that stereotypical place for yokels and hicks to hang out at. I definitely would not want to be there. I know some people are still like, oh, you're stereotyping. I'm like, yeah, I am. That place is backwards. God, I would hate being there. So, but that he had to settle for the second worst place to play in the NBA. I would say that's the way I look at it. And yeah, he deserves what he got. I did laugh when he got picked And when he went up to the podium, he just looked like a man who just got sentenced to some prison sentence. Just the way he was looking, like it looked like he was sentenced to go to like prison for like 5 to 10 years. He had that look on his face. That was just too funny. But from what I've seen, the highlights of this guy, he looks like he could be an all-star caliber player, possibly a star in the future. So it'll be interesting. Maybe he'll help make Utah relevant again. They haven't been relevant in a while. They had that brief minute with Donovan Mitchell and Gobert. And then prior to that, they had another brief few minutes with like Darren Williams and Carlos Boozer and Andre Karolinko. So the Jazz are an interesting organization. It's like they've never been able to recapture that run that they had with Malone and Stockton during the late 80s throughout the late 90s and being a perennial contender. But since those guys left, they've had moments where they've been relevant for at least a few minutes. So maybe he can make them relevant again just for a few minutes. If he does that, then his tenure in Utah will be a success. But that's all I have to say about this.